our next One Piece, which we have 2 episodes to talk about, including its penultimate episode, The Girl with the Sawfish Tattoo. But before that, we had the episode 6, which was The Chef and the Chore Boy. And Will, correct me if I'm wrong, but the other night, I believe you texted me when you watched this episode and said that you teared up a little.
I did.
Not surprising.
As I get older, the more sentimental I get.
At what part did you tear up? Was it just the beginning?
The end. Which?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The end. Okay. Do you want to elaborate on what?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess we could. Yeah. I mean, I think whenever Sanji and Zeph, like, whenever he finally leaves and he joins Luffy's crew and this the whole break, just how they really set things up as far as their relationship and really did a great job of just showing why things are the way they are at the Verity, as far as no waste and following your dreams. And it was just so many things that this episode, I think this season, it has gotten, each episode gets better and better for me, and I get more drawn in to the point where I'm like, shoot, I gotta wait for God knows how long before we get season 2, because I've gotten I didn't anticipate getting so invested into the story and these characters, but I really have, and showing Sanji and Zeph's, how they met and their backstory in this episode. Whenever we did get to that ending and when Zeph encouraged Sanji to follow the dream that they both mutually had, it resonated with me. And I did get choked up whenever Sanji was saying goodbye.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point. And I was listening to Christian Harloff's reaction to this episode right before we started recording tonight. And he felt similarly about how this episode really fleshed out that dynamic between Zeph and Sanji, whatever.
Yeah.
Saji,
yeah.
I felt it 4 different ways on here. So there's that. But this, I was also thinking about how this whole season has just done a good job of really having an overall through line while setting up a world, while giving backstories to the important characters, and not this is the first episode where, I will be honest, I think they could have made some different choices with the editing of the flashbacks, just because I'm very used to, okay, we're going to spend a little time in the past and then bring to the present, a little time in the past. But man, I felt like I was on that island thing with them for 30 minutes. Okay, let's get going now.
Yeah. Oh no, and that's for me, that made the payoff, because that editing choice. So I think in this episode it worked.
Right. Which I guess it did in the long run. It just took a moment for me to adjust to it, I should say.
Yeah.
But I like how the flashbacks, it's not just that they mirror what's going on in the present, and they don't even do that, which is a classic DC TV thing that we got used to with a lot of the Arrowverse shows. But it's more that we're going to show you the past of these characters so that you are more informed about their present behavior.
Yeah.
Which is such a smart writing choice, because you need to understand why these characters are, the choices and the rationale behind them. And while at the same time maintaining some mystery. Like, you're just seeing a specific moment that informed who they are at the moment, but you're not seeing everything necessarily. There's a lot of gaps that are still to explore, especially with good old Grandpa Garp and Luffy.
Yeah.
So I think that in terms of this episode and the next episode we're talking about, their penultimate episode, I liked how we didn't just leave, Zeph is still around, and actually his interaction with Garp in the next episode, the penultimate episode, it's just they earned it, because you really did feel like you got two father figures talking about their sons who they wanted certain things for. So it was really smart. And I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, I think.
Do you think I like the penultimate better than Chef and the Chore Boy? But we'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, because but to your point, that's the other thing, that the way they have structured their backstories and the color present day events, you're right. I mean, whenever we do get various moments in this show, most of the time they are earned moments, and it's not just a plot contrivance. And so. And I think that's why, as I said, I did not anticipate that I would get so invested in the series, whenever we first started. But I mean, with the exception of like maybe episode 4, where I think we were both of us were kind of like, not so, down with the Black Hat Pirates, and, I can't even remember their lead, Kurami or whatever, character. Yeah, he's so forgettable. Because that was the only time I actually like maybe picked up my phone watching while watching this series, because he was such a forgettable guy. But otherwise, I'm like locked in. And I think you're right. I mean, whenever Zeph and Sanji are like on that island after getting shipwrecked there, and they do spend a lot of time there. But it does color like why, whenever they only had, at the time, they felt a limited amount of stores, and as far as food and all, and of course he sends them to the other side of the rock, and then whenever we do find out what truly does happen, it makes sense now for like when we are introduced to these characters at the very in episode 5. Why there's this no waste, as far as, everything is used. And also, again, those moments are like earned, and it also explains why characters are the way they are. Right. And even like at the very beginning of the episode where, Zeph is helping to stitch up Zoro, and at first this was like, when I first happened, I was like, why is this, why is he agreeing to do this? I mean, he has no like interest in helping these folks out, especially given what we saw before with, if he found out, like, if Sanji had fed that one guy, the meal, he would lose it, and how he made Luffy like, earn his keep, as far, pay off his debt and stuff. So, but then, when things happen later, you're like, oh, I understand why he was willing to, use the old pirate sailor trick to like help Zoro out, and to keep him alive. So, yeah, this was a good, solid episode in that it was a lot of world building and character exploration with these folks, but also just some good adventure as well.
Yeah, we got Arlong, and the first showdown between Arlong and Luffy, and who just, this character of Arlong he has a big presence in the penultimate episode because he's like the big bad of this season.
Mm-hmm.
And the actor playing him, is having so much fun.
Yeah.
He's in all this makeup,
yes.
but man, he is having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could really tell that between the first time we see him and in this most recent episode that he was like, oh, you're giving me all these lines. I'm going to eat it all up. I'm going to go all in on this and match the energy of some of the other actors in the main cast. But I think like Arlong, and then of course Buggyhead comes back up again.
Yep. Lend me in here.
Oh my God. Buggy, like both of those actors are clearly having fun and clearly exuding this confidence of owning their character actions and just eating up the script. Where I think the Black Cat Pirates, it felt too much like a caricature. It wasn't fun. It was stuff we have seen a million times, the whole ploy of it, and it's night and day difference. Where Arlong is somewhat something we have seen before too, because he talks a lot about fishman rights and how he wants to overthrow the humans and how he's basically a gangster. I don't know how else to put it. He's paying off the cops who are mouse. The mice.
That's great.
And then he's taking over villages and getting payments for quote unquote protection and doing all those stuff. So he's a gangster. But it's just it's fun and it's interesting, and the actors portraying it are really owning it.
Great.
Where I don't mind the few things where I'm like, I've seen that before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, he really, because he is, because a lot of times with prosthetics, people like it doesn't work. But I mean, you're right. He is using the prosthetics to his benefit. And this is the presence, and like you said, the voice and everything. You're right. I mean, I can't say anything more that you haven't said about Arlong. But one thing about Arlong, and especially, we do get the reveal in this episode that we find out that Nami, is working for him. And she was, and I think back to, was it the second episode where they were on their little ship, where the first ship they had, or was it another? Was it later? Yeah, where she contacted him, and when I was watching that, I was like, did Sarah call Arlong and Nami? Did you call that? Okay, for some reason I thought you did.
No, I think that was at the very end of the first episode.
Yeah.
Where we hear her call someone.
Right.
And at that point, I didn't even know Arlong was a thing.
Right. Yeah. But I didn't know, like, especially like after we saw Arlong get introduced in the second episode whenever in Buggy Circus.
Nope.
Okay.
I wasn't even thinking about that. Like, they did a very good job about not picking that up. I mean, I think they we didn't see the tattoo until this episode.
No, we didn't.
Which, okay, I didn't see the tattoo. When the heck did Zoro see the tattoo? Okay? I just want to know, because she clearly left while he was still unconscious. Okay? So when did Zoro see the tattoo? And yes, people, there better be this love triangle brewing between Sanji, Zoro, and Nami, okay?
Oh yeah.
I'm calling this. I'm calling this stuff. And personally, I'm on Team Zoro, but Sanji is Sanji, so who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's not going to be Luffy. Luffy and Nami are like brother sister.
Yeah.
Brother sister. No.
Yeah.
So, but no, I didn't call it. I wish I had, but I wasn't. Like I said, they just did a very good job about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. I like how they're not, I don't feel like they're wasting my time.
Yeah.
They're not introducing anyone necessarily that doesn't allow Luffy and crew to get something or to grow in an area where they're lacking or to add another member of the crew. Like even though the Black Cat Pirates were the least like our least favorite episodes, they still allowed us to get the ship. They still allowed us to get Usopp. Like things were happening, and on top of that, we have a major B storyline here that I am shocked by how much I really enjoy the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not mad when we go back and forth because the dynamics between not just Garp and Colby, but I'm going to give a shout out to Haircut because Haircut has grown and he's still very similar to when we first met him, but they've allowed him to also be viewed as he's not wrong. He's not right. He has a very interesting way to communicate things, and he does have this entitlement thing, but none of these characters are perfect. No. And in the penultimate episode when they were at Bartide, I was just thinking about how much I really like Colby and Haircut conversations. Like it's older brother, little brother type thing going on here.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying that. So like I said, I hate it when I feel as though they are wasting time with storylines that don't go anywhere, that are kind of useless or like not adding more or dealing with characters I don't like, but I like pretty much everyone. I will be honest, my least favorite character is Usopp, but that's a whole nother conversation.
He hasn't really, I mean, he's there, but I just feel like, I don't know, and I know that's, we'll talk about that in a bit, but as far as other things for episode 6, before we move to 7, you're thinking about the dynamic with Cole, the Marines, you're right, and of course we get Mihawk reporting back to Garp after he lets Luffy go, and also thinking that moving it forward to Kobe and Garp's discussion about changing tactics and let Luffy be a pirate, and you see that you see like the after we learn that reveal and we see the start of Garp trying to teach Luffy how to be a Marine and stuff, and it becoming very clear that the tactics that Garp continues to use, he's just it's just not working. So it was very interesting, when Kobe suggested that to him to just let him be a pirate and treat him like, but Garp took that as a way like, okay, well, if he's going to be a pirate, then we're going to treat him like a pirate and not, stop pulling my punches. Which, I'm wondering, I don't know if Kobe was like, again, like you said with Haircut, Haircut would not have been surprised to hear that, whereas Kobe was like, oh, I didn't mean for it to be that way. I wanted to, Kobe's a lot like Luffy and he wants to aspire to be different from the other, the other pirates. He's so naive.
yeah. Colby knows that Luffy is a good pirate. Mm-hmm. But Garp does not view it in that way, and it's not because he views it as all pirates are bad. He doesn't want Luffy to be a pirate because he always wanted Luffy to be a Marine, and he's not over that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good conflict because I haven't seen one of these in a while. And I think it's in a relatable conflict between a parental figure and a kid.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's also at the same time it mirrors Colby. It's having Luffy be a good pirate and having Colby be a good Marine allows both sides to be gray. Yeah. And for us to recognize that in this world, there's not necessarily bad guys and good guys. They're just, you're my enemy and you're my friend.
Yeah.
However, this world wants to put people in those boxes.
Yeah.
And, which causes divisiveness but at the end of the day, like, we do learn about, with Mihawk, about the Marines getting, pirates to do their dirty work. And then we also see Arlong use the Marines to not catch him and get paid off. So it's, they're building a world that is relatable, but at the same time, just very, very fantasy. Yeah. So it's really well done. But yeah, so that takes us to the girl with the sawfish tattoo, where we get our Nami flashback episode in Cocoa Village. Cocoa Village. Very heavy with the flashbacks, rightfully so. This has been arguably the biggest mystery of the season is what was Nami, or who is Nami? Where did she come from? And we get shown how she becomes a part of Arlong's crew. And again, she's another one who we're dealing with a person who she's always been a thief.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that, where we're introduced way before Arlong gets there, she's already stealing things.
Yeah.
Which allows another mystery. Like, why did she want that book? What is with her and maps? Like, she always says she hates pirates. She's been on a crew. She clearly understands them. So it's even, like I said, I think I said this before, even though we're getting flashbacks, there's still not enough to say, like, I know everything about this character.
Exactly.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But what are some of your takeaways from the girl with the sawfish tattoo?
Yeah. This, to my point earlier about wishing there were more episodes this season, this was the one where I was just like, man, I need more. I know we got one left, but I need more because, they really did open the door to like Nami's background and like you said, she's always been a thief, but it was in a furtherance of something, she was the navigator, and we see why she was the navigator. I mean, from a very early age, she was drawing maps, and it seems like she was the one who drew the map to the Grand Line. So from her stealing the books and stuff and also, so yeah, I mean, this episode, it was definitely very heavy, and especially, very heartbreaking. On the one hand, especially once we see how Nami and her adoptive sister were paired together, and how how Arlong has this history with this village, and then of course the sadness of it is Nami was doing all these things, she put that cold, hard exterior because of what happened to her adopted mother. and her sister. I mean, whenever people that were close to her, she lost them. And so I guess that was her defense mechanism with the Straw Hats, was to try not to get too close, because she didn't want to have a repeat of what she witnessed whenever she was a little girl happen to them. If it was like with the pirates.
Yeah, but she was also dealing with the secret. I mean,
yeah.
We find out she doesn't go back to Cocoa Village because she made a deal with Arlong, and Arlong destroyed Cocoa Village and have been like holding them hostage to an extent, and bleeding them dry of their money and everything. And they despise her for that, especially her sister, who she was with her sister when her adoptive mother sacrificed herself so that the girls can survive. But Nami decided to make a deal after that with Arlong and say, you need my help and you have something I want, which is Cocoa Village. So we're going to make a deal. And the deal was for 100 million berry. And so over the 8 years between then and now, she's been stealing and getting stuff for Arlong, and she finally collected that, but she was surprised when she told Arlong, hey, I have 100 million berry. Let me go get it. Nami, you're so smart. You played a card too soon. Why? Yeah. But it would have worked. He would have reneged either way.
Yeah, he would have.
So, but now we know, like, Nami, yes, she's a thief, but she's clearly Robin Hood. She's trying to buy back Cocoa Village and protect Cocoa Village. I thought it was a really good scene at the very end when she's running and ends up starting to stab the tattoo, and then Luffy's there and she asks for Luffy's help.
Yeah.
The actress who plays Nami did a really good job in that moment.
She did.
Going from like anger, strength to almost hopelessness. Yeah. And that really is Luffy's superpower. He is just a beacon of hope and sees the good in people. And that's what he's been trying to communicate to everyone who's been second guessing him along the way, especially within the last 2 episodes here, is that Luffy has really good people instincts.
Yeah.
And then he sees something in them and can motivate them to find it for themselves and see it in themselves as well. And hey, that's what got Zoro to be like, I'm ride or die for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they almost killed Zoro in the last episode.
But this waiter gotta go. This waiter gotta go.
I love that dynamic between Sanji and Zoro, the waiter. You know, he's the waiter. You know, he's just remember your place, waiter. Yeah. But to your point about Nami, I think, you know, one of the things I thought about while you're describing that scene where she was just so helpless, but you know, and I think why again, and I did even got a lump of that moment too, because in my throat, because you know, just thinking about the tragedy and tragic circumstance for Nami, because you know, she was doing all these things over 8 years or whatever to you know, to buy protection for the village, and she couldn't tell anyone, even her sister. And so whenever we see that moment when she went to dig up the berry and the corrupt Marines come and take it from her, which is a very hard scene to watch. I mean, it's just, it was a very heavy, I mean, this is a very heavy episode in many ways. but but she did convey that, just like that breakdown of just like all that I worked for, all that I did is gone, and and no one knows the truth, and so Luffy being there to reach out, and the Straw Hat Pirates, Sanji, offering to make a meal to get her sister on her side, on their side, as far as just getting information and learning more about their circumstance. Again, like, it was a great framing as far as going back and forth between the flashbacks and the present day to color the actions that we've gotten to know about these characters. But as you also said, there's still a whole heck of a lot more to the story. And, and I haven't read the manga materials and or watched the anime version of this, but paring down 15,000 volumes or whatever it is, they really did a great job of, like, I think, capturing the essence of these characters, from what I gather.
Right. Yeah. I haven't really heard any negativity about this show. I'm sure there are, because adaptations always get some sort of flashback, but so far it's been very quiet.
It's been quiet because compared to, like, another thing in this genre, when it's on Netflix and live action, Cowboy Bebop, I mean, people eviscerated that one. Whereas with One Piece, it's the exact opposite. So, yeah.